Getting stuck usually happens to toddlers exploring the world. These adults proved you're never too old to get stuck doing something incredibly stupid. 1. A man in England got his head stuck between metal railings outside a train station after trying to retrieve his phone that had fallen through. He was walking past railings, dropped his phone between the bars, and decided to stick his head through to grab it rather than walk around to the other side. His head fit through going in but wouldn't come back out. The bars were spaced just wide enough for his head to fit through at the right angle, but once his head was through and he tried to pull back, his ears caught on the metal, preventing extraction. He was stuck for over 30 minutes with his head between railings while commuters walked past. Fire crews arrived with cutting equipment. They tried soap and oil to lubricate his head but couldn't free him. Eventually, they had to use hydraulic spreaders to bend the metal bars apart. The rescue took 45 minutes and required 4 firefighters. The man's phone was recovered, but his dignity was not. Firefighters pointed out that he could have simply walked around to the other side of the railing and picked up his phone from ground level without sticking his head through anything. The incident was photographed by bystanders and went viral. The man became famous for getting his head stuck in railings like a toddler because he didn't think before acting. His stupid decision to stick his head through metal bars to save 30 seconds of walking around resulted in public humiliation and tying up emergency resources. The fire department later posted about the incident, reminding people to think before putting body parts through gaps. 2. A woman in Australia got stuck in a washing machine while playing hide and seek with her children. She thought it would be funny to hide in the front-loading washing machine. She climbed in through the door and curled up inside. Her plan was to surprise her kids when they found her. The problem was that she couldn't get back out. Her body had wedged into the drum and she couldn't maneuver herself to climb out. She was stuck completely inside the washing machine, calling for help. Her children called emergency services. Firefighters arrived to find a grown woman stuck inside her own washing machine. They tried pulling her out, but she was wedged too tightly. They had to dismantle parts of the washing machine to free her. The rescue took over an hour and required specialized tools to take apart the appliance without injuring her. Photos taken by firefighters showed her head and shoulders visible through the washing machine door while her body was stuck inside. She was uninjured but mortified. The firefighters posted about the rescue on social media as a warning about the dangers of playing hide and seek in appliances. Her stupid decision to climb into a washing machine destroyed the appliance, cost hundreds in emergency response, and traumatized her children who watched their mother get cut out of laundry equipment. The washing machine manufacturer later used the incident as an example of improper use in their safety warnings. 3. A man in the United States got stuck in a baby swing at a playground. He was an adult in his 20s who bet his friends he could fit in a toddler swing. He squeezed his body through the leg holes of the bucket-style baby swing designed for children under 30 pounds. Getting in was difficult but possible. Getting out was impossible. His hips and buttocks were wedged firmly in the swing. He couldn't pull himself up or slide down. He was stuck suspended in a baby swing while his friends laughed and filmed. Eventually, they called the fire department when it became clear he wasn't getting out on his own despite 20 minutes of attempts. Firefighters arrived to find a grown man stuck in a toddler swing with his legs dangling through the holes. They tried soap and cooking oil to help him slide out. Nothing worked. The swing material had stretched slightly when he forced himself in, then contracted around him, making removal impossible without damage. They had to cut the swing apart with tools to free him. The rescue took 30 minutes. The playground swing was destroyed, and the park district had to replace it at a cost of $150. The man was fine physically, but the video of him stuck in a baby swing went viral with over 2 million views. His stupid decision to prove he could fit in a swing designed for babies resulted in emergency services having to cut him out while his friends documented his humiliation. The park installed a sign warning that swings have weight limits after this incident. 4. A burglar in California got stuck in a chimney while trying to break into a house. He climbed onto the roof planning to enter through the chimney like Santa Claus. He slid down into the chimney but immediately got wedged tight. Chimneys narrow as they descend, and he became stuck about halfway down with his arms pinned against his sides. He couldn't go up or down. He was trapped in the chimney for over 5 hours screaming for help. Neighbors eventually heard him and called police thinking someone was being attacked. When officers arrived, they heard muffled screaming from inside the house and eventually located the source: a man stuck in the chimney. Firefighters had to partially demolish the chimney from the outside to extract him, breaking away bricks and mortar. He emerged covered in soot, dehydrated, and immediately arrested for attempted burglary. The homeowner wasn't even home. The house was empty. The burglar had gotten stuck in a chimney trying to burglarize an unoccupied house. Medical examination found he had bruising, dehydration, and minor injuries from being wedged in a tight space for hours. His stupid decision to use a chimney as an entry point resulted in him being stuck for hours, requiring extensive chimney demolition to free him, then being arrested while covered in soot. The homeowner had to pay $3,000 to repair the chimney damage. Firefighters noted that chimneys are not viable entry points, and only Santa Claus uses them because he's fictional and magic. This type of chimney burglary attempt happens multiple times per year across the country, usually with similar results. 5. A woman in England got her hand stuck in a park bench trying to retrieve coins she'd dropped. Coins had fallen through gaps in the wooden slats of the bench. She stuck her hand through the gap and grabbed the coins, but her closed fist wouldn't fit back through. She was stuck with her hand clenched around coins beneath a park bench. She tried for 20 minutes to free herself, letting go of the coins, wiggling her hand, and using different angles. Nothing worked. Her hand had swollen slightly from being wedged and wouldn't come out. She had to call emergency services using her free hand. Firefighters arrived and used lubricant and careful manipulation to free her hand. The rescue took 15 minutes. She retrieved about 75 pence in coins, less than $1. The cost of the emergency response was hundreds of pounds. Her stupid decision to stick her hand through a bench for pocket change resulted in needing rescue for money that wasn't worth the embarrassment or the cost to taxpayers. The fire service reminded the public that emergency services should only be called for actual emergencies, not for retrieving small amounts of money from park furniture. 6. A man got stuck between two buildings in New York after dropping his phone in the gap. There was a narrow gap between two buildings barely wider than a person. His phone fell into this gap. He squeezed into the gap sideways to retrieve his phone, thinking he could quickly grab it and back out. Once in, he realized the gap was narrower at the bottom than the top. He couldn't turn around, couldn't crouch to get his phone, and couldn't back out. He was wedged between two buildings, unable to move. Someone heard him yelling and called 911. Firefighters arrived and assessed the situation. They couldn't pull him out the way he went in because the gap narrowed. They had to bring in construction equipment to partially demolish one building's exterior wall to create enough space to extract him. The rescue took several hours and required coordination between fire department, police, and construction crews. The operation cost thousands of dollars in property damage to the building's exterior. He never retrieved his phone, which remained at the bottom of the gap. His stupid decision to enter a gap between buildings resulted in a major rescue operation requiring building demolition and property damage, all for a phone he didn't recover anyway. The property owner sued him for the cost of repairs totaling $8,000. He ended up paying for a new wall and never getting his phone back. 7. A teenager got stuck in a claw machine at an arcade trying to steal prizes. He climbed through the prize chute of a claw machine to grab stuffed animals directly. He got inside the machine easily through the prize door, which was designed to let prizes drop through. Once inside, he grabbed several prizes. But when he tried to climb back out, he couldn't fit through the chute with his arms full of stuffed animals. He let go of the prizes and tried again, but still couldn't get out. He had entered the machine thin and couldn't exit the same way. The angle was wrong for climbing out. He started panicking and banging on the glass. Arcade staff called police and the fire department. They had to unlock and partially dismantle the claw machine to extract him through the service door and back. He was arrested for attempted theft and vandalism. The claw machine was damaged beyond repair from the dismantling. His stupid decision to steal prizes by climbing into a claw machine resulted in criminal charges, being immortalized in photos taken by amused bystanders showing him stuck inside a machine designed for children's entertainment, and causing hundreds of dollars in damage to arcade property. 8. A woman got stuck in a bathroom window trying to sneak into her own apartment after locking herself out. She had locked her keys inside her apartment. Rather than call a locksmith, which would cost about $100, She decided to climb through the bathroom window, which she'd left open a crack. She climbed up using a trash can as a step and tried to squeeze through the small window. She got halfway through, her upper body inside the bathroom, her lower body hanging outside. Then she got stuck. The window frame caught her hips and she couldn't go forward or backward. She was stuck hanging out a second-floor window with passers-by gathering below staring at her. Neighbors saw her dangling and called emergency services. Firefighters arrived with a ladder. They tried to push her through the window from outside while police inside tried pulling. She wouldn't budge. They had to remove the entire window frame to free her. The rescue took 40 minutes and required 6 emergency personnel. A locksmith would have cost $100 and taken 15 minutes. Her window was destroyed and had to be replaced at a cost of $350. Her stupid decision to climb through a window she couldn't fit through resulted in a dramatic rescue, more expense than just calling a locksmith, and neighbors who witnessed her hanging out a window for 40 minutes. 9. A man got his arm stuck in a vending machine reaching for a stuck candy bar. His candy bar got caught on the dispensing mechanism after he paid for it. Instead of requesting a refund from the posted number, he stuck his arm up through the dispensing slot to grab it. His arm went in fine, but once he grabbed the candy, his fist wouldn't come back through the narrow slot. He was stuck with his arm trapped in a vending machine holding a candy bar he couldn't retrieve or release. Campus security found him and called for help. Firefighters arrived and tried lubricant to help him slide his arm out. It didn't work. They had to tilt the vending machine at an angle and partially dismantle it to free him. The rescue took 30 minutes and the vending machine was damaged, requiring repair. The candy bar he was reaching for cost $150. The vending machine repair cost hundreds. His stupid decision to stick his arm into a vending machine resulted in rescue and damage over a candy bar he could have gotten refunded with a simple phone call to the vending company. 10. A child got a toilet seat stuck around their neck and had to be rescued by firefighters. The child was playing with a child's training toilet seat, the small plastic kind that sits on top of a regular toilet. The child put the toilet seat over their head like a necklace, thinking it was funny. It slid down to their neck and wouldn't come back off. The opening was large enough to go over the child's head going down, but the ears prevented it from coming back up. The parents tried soap, oil, and pulling gently, but couldn't remove it without hurting the child. They called emergency services. Firefighters arrived to find a child with a toilet seat around their neck, like a collar. They used specialized cutting tools to carefully cut through the plastic toilet seat without injuring the child. The rescue took 20 minutes and required careful precision to avoid cutting the child. The child was fine, but learned a valuable lesson about not putting things over their head. Photos of the rescue showed the child looking miserable, wearing a toilet seat around their neck. While this happened to a child, similar incidents have happened to adults trying to demonstrate or recreate the situation, proving stupidity isn't age-restricted. 11. A man got stuck upside down in a donation bin, trying to steal donated items. He climbed on top of a clothing donation bin and lowered himself headfirst through the donation slot to grab items inside. Once inside, he couldn't climb back out. The opening was designed for bags of clothes to be dropped through, not for people to climb through. He was stuck upside down inside a donation bin with his legs sticking out of the slot. Someone heard him yelling and called police. When officers arrived, they found his legs sticking out of the donation slot, waving frantically. They tried pulling him out, but he was wedged too tightly. Firefighters had to use cutting tools to make an opening in the side of the metal bin large enough to extract him. He emerged with donated clothes stuck to him and was immediately arrested for theft. He'd been stuck upside down for over an hour with blood rushing to his head. Medical personnel checked him for injuries related to being inverted for so long. His stupid decision to rob a charity donation bin by climbing in headfirst resulted in being trapped upside down for an hour, requiring emergency extraction, and then being arrested with the stolen clothes still stuck to him. 12. A woman got her finger stuck in a bowling ball and required emergency services. She was bowling and put her fingers in a ball. When she tried to release the ball during her approach, her ring finger wouldn't come out. Her finger had swollen slightly during bowling from gripping the ball repeatedly and was now trapped in the finger hole. She tried everything: ice to reduce swelling, soap, oil, and pulling. The finger stayed stuck. She went to the emergency room with a bowling ball attached to her hand, walking through the ER entrance carrying a 14-pound ball on one finger. ER staff tried for an hour to remove it without success, using various lubricants and gentle manipulation. They called the fire department for specialized equipment. Firefighters brought tools and carefully drilled and cut around the finger hole to enlarge it without hitting her finger. The rescue took another hour of careful work. The bowling ball was destroyed. Her finger was bruised but intact. The bowling alley banned her for destroying their equipment. Her stupid decision to continue bowling despite her finger swelling resulted in a multi-hour ordeal, destroying a bowling ball permanently attached to her hand and being banned from the bowling alley. 13. A man got stuck in a children's playground tunnel slide. He was an overweight adult who decided to use a playground slide designed for small children. He entered the enclosed tube slide but got wedged inside. The slide was barely 2 feet in diameter, designed for children under 50 pounds, and he became stuck in the middle of the curved tunnel section. He couldn't move forward or backward and was completely wedged. Children playing had to find another slide while a grown man blocked this one. Parents called emergency services. Firefighters had to partially disassemble the playground equipment to access him, removing sections of the plastic tube slide. They cut open sections of the tube to extract him. The rescue took 45 minutes and completely destroyed the slide. The playground equipment had to be replaced, costing the city thousands of dollars. His stupid decision to use playground equipment designed for 5-year-olds resulted in rescue, destroying public property, and disappointing dozens of children who could no longer use that slide. 14. A burglar got stuck in an air duct while trying to break into a restaurant. He entered through a roof vent, planning to crawl through ducts to reach the restaurant interior like in the movies. The ductwork was smaller than he expected. Movies make air ducts look spacious when in reality they're barely large enough for air circulation. He got wedged inside, unable to move forward or backward. He was stuck in a narrow metal air duct in complete darkness. He spent 12 hours stuck in the duct before restaurant employees arrived the next morning and heard him calling for help. They called police. Firefighters had to cut through the roof and dismantle ductwork to extract him. He emerged covered in dust and grease after spending a night wedged in ductwork. He was immediately arrested. The restaurant suffered thousands in repair costs for the roof and ductwork. His stupid decision to crawl into an air duct resulted in overnight imprisonment in ductwork, followed by arrest for attempted burglary. 15. A woman got her head stuck in the exhaust pipe of a truck. This incident happened after a party where alcohol was involved. She thought it would be funny to put her head inside the large exhaust pipe of a semi-truck parked on the street. Her head went in but wouldn't come back out. Her ears folded down going in but caught on the pipe coming out, preventing extraction. She panicked and pulled harder, getting more stuck and scraping her ears. Friends called emergency services. Firefighters arrived to find a woman with her head stuck in a truck's exhaust pipe. They used lubricant and careful manipulation to free her ears and extract her head. The rescue took 30 minutes of careful work. She had exhaust residue all over her face and hair and scraped ears. Photos taken by firefighters became internet famous. Her stupid alcohol-influenced decision to stick her head in an exhaust pipe resulted in humiliation, minor injuries, and a rescue that firefighters still talk about as one of the strangest they've responded to. 16. A man got stuck in a metal gate trying to squeeze through instead of walking around. There was a decorative metal gate with vertical bars spaced about 8 inches apart. Rather than walk 20 feet to the open gate entrance, he decided to squeeze between the bars sideways to save time. He got halfway through and became wedged. The bars pressed against his chest and back. He couldn't go forward or retreat. He was stuck standing sideways in a gate, unable to move. Passers-by called for help. Firefighters arrived and tried lubricant but couldn't free him. They had to use hydraulic spreaders to bend the metal bars apart, creating enough space to extract him. The rescue took an hour and permanently damaged the decorative gate. His stupid decision to save 20 seconds by squeezing through bars instead of walking resulted in an hour-long rescue, gate damage, and public humiliation. 17. A teenager got stuck in a tree and couldn't climb down. He climbed a tall tree to retrieve a kite stuck in the branches. Getting up was easy, he climbed without thinking. Getting down terrified him when he looked down from 40 feet up and froze with fear. He was stuck high in a tree, too scared to move. His friends tried talking him down, but he was paralyzed with fear. They called the fire department. Firefighters brought a ladder truck and rescued him like rescuing a cat from a tree. He was uninjured but mortified at being rescued like a scared cat. The rescue took 20 minutes and required multiple firefighters and specialized equipment. His stupid decision to climb a tree without thinking about getting down resulted in a rescue operation for something that could have been avoided by using a long pole to retrieve the kite from the ground. 18. A woman got stuck in a folding chair when the chair partially collapsed around her. She sat in a cheap folding chair that wasn't fully locked open. When she sat down heavily, the chair folded partially, catching her hips and thighs in the collapsing mechanism. She was stuck sitting in a chair that had folded around her like a trap. She couldn't stand up because the chair was attached to her, and she couldn't open the chair mechanism. She called for help. Neighbors called emergency services when they heard her yelling. Firefighters arrived and had to carefully cut apart the chair mechanism to free her without injuring her legs. The rescue took 15 minutes of careful cutting. She was bruised but not seriously injured. The chair was destroyed. Photos showed her wedged in a chair that had basically eaten her. Her decision to sit in a chair without checking it was properly set up resulted in being trapped in furniture and requiring rescue from a folding chair. 19. A man got his hand stuck in a truck's wheel while trying to retrieve something he'd dropped. He dropped his wallet between the truck's tire and wheel well. He reached in to grab it, and his hand got wedged between the tire and the metal frame of the wheel well. His hand wouldn't come out. The tight space and angle trapped it. He was stuck bent over with his hand trapped in his truck's wheel well. He couldn't reach his phone in his pocket to call for help with his free hand because of the awkward angle. A passerby saw him in distress and called 911. Firefighters arrived and tried to maneuver his hand out, but it was trapped by the tire pressure. They had to deflate the tire completely to create enough space to carefully extract his hand. His hand was bruised, scraped, and swollen, but intact. His stupid decision to reach into a wheel well instead of jacking up the truck or using a tool resulted in rescue and needing to change his tire afterward. 20. A child got their head stuck in a chair and firefighters had to cut them out. The child was playing with a plastic chair that had a decorative circular hole in the back. The child put their head through the hole and it got stuck. Their head fit through going in but not coming out. The ears caught on the plastic. Parents tried soap, oil, butter, and ice, but couldn't free the child who was getting increasingly upset. They called emergency services. Firefighters arrived and carefully cut the plastic chair apart around the child's head using specialized tools. The rescue took 20 minutes of careful cutting. The child was fine, but the chair was destroyed. While this was a child, multiple adult versions exist where grown people got heads stuck in chairs, railings, or decorative objects requiring similar rescues, proving that this type of stupidity continues into adulthood. 21. A man got stuck in a porta potty after climbing in to retrieve his dropped phone. He was using a portable toilet at a construction site. His phone fell out of his pocket into the tank below. Instead of abandoning a phone that had fallen into sewage, he tried to retrieve it by leaning down into the toilet opening. He lost his balance and fell partway into the tank. He was stuck upside down in the porta potty tank with his legs sticking up out of the toilet seat. Co-workers found him and called for help while trying not to laugh or vomit. Firefighters had to tip the porta potty on its side and extract him from the waste tank. He was covered head to toe in sewage and had to be hosed off before being allowed near the ambulance. His phone was destroyed and never recovered from the sewage. He quit his job out of embarrassment the next day after the entire construction site witnessed his sewage-covered rescue. His stupid decision to dive into a porta potty for a phone resulted in the most humiliating rescue imaginable and becoming a legend at his former workplace. 22. A woman got her hand stuck in a garbage disposal while trying to retrieve a ring. She was washing dishes and her ring slipped off into the disposal. She turned off the power switch and stuck her hand down the disposal to retrieve it. Her hand with the ring on it got wedged in the disposal's grinding mechanism. She couldn't pull it out. The angle and the mechanism trapped her hand. She called for help with her free hand. Emergency services arrived along with a plumber. They had to dismantle the garbage disposal under her sink while her hand was still inside, carefully taking apart components. Plumbers and firefighters worked together to take apart the disposal without injuring her hand or cutting her with the sharp grinding blades. The rescue took over an hour of careful work. Her hand was freed with the ring still on it, but the disposal was completely destroyed. Her stupid decision to reach into a garbage disposal instead of using tongs or pliers resulted in replacing the entire unit at a cost of several $100s. 23. A man got stuck in the mud up to his waist trying to retrieve a frisbee. He was playing frisbee near a marsh and threw badly, sending the frisbee into muddy wetlands. He walked into the mud to get it thinking the mud was shallow. With each step, he sank deeper into the soft mud. By the time he grabbed the frisbee, he was waist deep in mud and couldn't move. The mud had created suction around his legs, preventing him from pulling free. He tried for 15 minutes to free himself, but just sank slightly deeper. He called for help. Firefighters arrived with specialized mud rescue equipment. They had to build a platform of boards around him in the mud and use straps and pulleys to slowly extract him from the suction. The rescue took 2 hours of careful work to avoid injuring him. He emerged covered head to toe in mud and without shoes, which were left behind deep in the muck. His stupid decision to walk into a swamp for a $5 frisbee resulted in a complex 2-hour rescue operation requiring specialized equipment. 24. A woman got stuck in a dress in a fitting room and couldn't get it off. She was trying on a tight dress in a department store. She forced the dress over her head and shoulders, but couldn't get it down past her chest. It was too small. Then she couldn't get it back up and off. She was stuck with a dress wrapped around her upper body and head covering her face. She couldn't see, couldn't move her arms much, and was panicking inside the dress. She called for help. Store employees tried to help but couldn't free her from the dress. They called emergency services. Firefighters arrived at the store and carefully cut the dress off her using trauma shears. The rescue took 15 minutes. She had to pay for the destroyed dress she'd been stuck in. Her stupid decision to force herself into a dress clearly too small resulted in rescue from clothing and paying for a destroyed dress she never wanted. 25. A man got his leg stuck in a storm drain while trying to retrieve keys he'd dropped. His car keys fell through a storm drain grate on the street. He lifted the grate and stuck his leg down into the drain to feel around for the keys with his foot. His leg went in fine, but when he tried to pull it out, his foot was wedged at an angle and wouldn't come up through the opening. He was stuck with one leg down a storm drain on a public street. Passers-by stopped to stare and take photos. Emergency services were called. Firefighters arrived and tried various methods to free his leg, including lubricant and different angles. Eventually, they had to use specialized tools to slightly widen the drain opening. The rescue took 45 minutes while traffic was blocked. He never found his keys in the drain. His stupid decision to stick his leg down a drain instead of using a tool with a hook or calling a professional resulted in a ridiculous rescue while stuck in a storm drain and still needing a locksmith. 26. A teenager got stuck in a washing machine attempting to recreate a viral video trend. Social media showed people climbing into washers as a challenge to see if they fit. The teen climbed into a front-loading washing machine and pulled the door closed. They realized too late they couldn't open the door from inside. The door lock mechanism prevented it. They were stuck inside a closed washing machine pounding on the door. Parents heard banging and found their child trapped inside the machine. They tried to open the door, but the safety lock mechanism was engaged and wouldn't release. They called emergency services. Firefighters arrived and had to force open the washing machine door, damaging the locking mechanism. The teen was freed after 20 minutes, but the washing machine was damaged beyond repair, requiring replacement. Their stupid decision to copy a dangerous internet trend resulted in rescue, destroying the family's washing machine, and becoming a cautionary tale about social media challenges. 27. A man got stuck in a pet door trying to break into a house. He was locked out of his own house and decided to crawl through the dog door rather than call a locksmith for $100. He was a large man, and the pet door was designed for a medium-sized dog. He got his head and shoulders through, but his chest got stuck in the pet door frame. He couldn't go forward or backward. He was stuck face down with half his body inside his house and half outside in an awkward position. Neighbors saw him and called police thinking he was a burglar. When police arrived, they verified he owned the house, then called firefighters to extract him. Firefighters had to cut away parts of the door frame and pet door to enlarge the opening enough to pull him through. The rescue took 30 minutes and destroyed his door, requiring replacement. His stupid decision to use a dog door instead of calling a locksmith resulted in police being called on him, property damage exceeding the cost of a locksmith, and suspicious neighbors who now watched him carefully. 28. A woman got her hair stuck in a pool drain and had to be rescued. She was swimming underwater in a pool doing laps. Her long hair was flowing behind her. She swam near the pool drain, and her hair was suddenly sucked into the drain opening by the suction. The suction held her hair firmly against the drain. She couldn't pull free and was running out of breath underwater. She panicked. Someone saw her struggling and dove in to help. They tried to free her hair but couldn't overcome the suction. They helped her get her face above water to breathe while her hair remained stuck. Emergency services were called. The pool had to be shut down immediately and the pump turned off to stop the suction. Even with the pump off, her hair was tangled in the drain mechanism. Firefighters helped carefully cut her hair to free her from the drain. She lost about 12 inches of hair but avoided drowning. Pool operators were cited for not having proper drain covers. Her stupid decision to swim near a pool drain with long hair flowing loose resulted in a dangerous rescue, an unwanted haircut, and nearly drowning in a swimming pool. 29. A man got stuck between a refrigerator and kitchen counter when the fridge was moved and he was behind it. He was helping move furniture and positioned himself behind a refrigerator to push, while others pulled from the front. Someone pushed from the front at the same time he pushed. The refrigerator suddenly shifted and pinned him against the wall in the narrow gap behind it. He was stuck compressed between a refrigerator and a wall. He couldn't move and could barely breathe with the weight against his chest. Friends couldn't move the heavy fridge back without crushing him further. They called emergency services. Firefighters arrived and used floor jacks to carefully lift and shift the refrigerator enough to free him. He had significant bruising on his chest and ribs, but no broken bones. His stupid decision to get behind a heavy appliance being pushed from both directions resulted in being crushed against a wall and requiring rescue equipment to be freed. 30. A child got a jar stuck on their head, and firefighters had to remove it. The child was playing with a large glass jar and thought it would be funny to put it over their head. The jar slid down past their head to their shoulders and wouldn't come back off. The opening was wide enough for the head going on, but the ears prevented it from coming off. Parents tried everything to remove it, including soap and oil, but feared breaking the glass near the child's face and eyes. They called emergency services. Firefighters brought protective equipment and carefully scored and broke the jar away from the child's head, using specialized glass-cutting tools and protecting the child's face. The rescue took 30 minutes of careful work. The child was fine but learned a lesson about not putting containers on their head. While this involved a child, adults have done the same thing with buckets, pots, pumpkins, and various containers on their heads requiring similar rescues, proving this type of stupidity knows no age limit. 31. A man got stuck in a baby changing station in a public restroom. He was drunk at a bar and thought it would be funny to climb into the wall-mounted baby changing station. He climbed up and lay down in it like it was a bed. The changing table began to fold partially closed with him inside from his weight. He was stuck wedged in a baby changing station attached to a bathroom wall. Friends found him stuck and called for help after failing to free him themselves. Firefighters arrived at the bar's bathroom to find a grown drunk man stuck in a baby changing table mounted on the wall. They had to carefully dismantle the changing station from the wall to free him without dropping him. The rescue took 45 minutes and destroyed the changing table. The bar banned him permanently. His drunk decision to climb into baby furniture resulted in being cut out of a bathroom wall-mounted changing station, being banned from his favorite bar, and becoming a local legend of stupidity. 32. A woman got her hand stuck in a bowling trophy while cleaning it. She had won a large bowling trophy with a decorative hole in the top. She was polishing it and stuck her hand inside through the hole to clean the interior. Her hand got wedged and wouldn't come out. Her knuckles caught on the metal interior. She tried soap and oil, but her hand remained stuck. She went to the emergency room with a trophy stuck on her hand like a golden glove. Medical staff tried for 30 minutes to remove it using various techniques. They called hospital maintenance, who brought tools. They used a rotary cutting tool to carefully cut away sections of the trophy metal. The rescue took over an hour of careful cutting. The trophy was completely destroyed. Her hand was freed uninjured. Her stupid decision to stick her hand inside a trophy without thinking about extraction resulted in destroying an award she'd won and spending hours in the ER with a trophy stuck on her hand. 33. A man got stuck under his car while changing oil without proper equipment. He drove his car onto ramps to change the oil himself to save money. While under the car draining oil, the ramps shifted slightly and the car settled lower, pinning him underneath between the ground and the car's undercarriage. He couldn't move or get out and was trapped under his car. He couldn't reach his phone. Neighbors heard him yelling for help and called 911. Firefighters arrived and had to use jacks and airbags to lift the car enough to safely extract him from underneath. He had compression injuries and bruising from being pinned. His stupid decision to get under a car without proper jack, stands, and safety equipment resulted in being trapped underneath a car, until rescue and learning an expensive lesson about automotive safety. 34. A teenager got stuck in a mascot costume and couldn't get it off. They were wearing their school's mascot costume for a football game. After the game in the hot costume, they tried to remove it, but the zipper broke while they were still inside. They were stuck in a hot, heavy mascot costume and couldn't get out. The costume had no other openings. It was designed as one piece with a single zipper. Others tried to help, but the zipper was completely jammed and wouldn't budge. They called for help as the teen was overheating badly inside. Firefighters arrived and carefully cut the costume open from the back to free the overheating teen. The rescue took 20 minutes. The teen was dehydrated, overheated, and red-faced, but okay after cooling down and drinking water. The expensive mascot costume was destroyed, requiring the school to purchase a new one costing $800. Their bad luck with a broken zipper resulted in being cut out of a costume while dangerously overheating. 35. A man got stuck in a tire swing when he tried to use it and fell through. He sat on a tire swing that hung horizontally like a platform. He was significantly heavier than the swing was designed for. When he sat on it, he fell through the center hole of the tire. The tire caught him around his hips and waist, and he was stuck hanging through a tire swing. He couldn't pull himself out because the tire gripped his hips tightly, and his feet couldn't touch the ground to push up. He hung there suspended through a tire for 15 minutes until someone found him and called for help. Firefighters arrived and had to cut the tire swing to free him from the rubber grip. The rescue took 20 minutes. The playground swing was destroyed. His stupid decision to use a swing not rated for his weight resulted in hanging through a tire until rescued and destroying playground equipment. 36. A woman got stuck in a corset that was laced too tight. She was trying on a historical costume corset for a Renaissance fair. Friends helped lace it very tight for an authentic look. It looked great, but then she couldn't breathe well and wanted it off immediately. The laces had been pulled so tight they created knots, and the boning restricted her breathing. She couldn't reach behind herself to untie the laces. Friends tried to untie it, but the knots were impossibly tight from the extreme tension. She started panicking about not being able to breathe properly. They called emergency services concerned about her oxygen. Paramedics arrived and had to cut the laces from the back to remove the corset and allow her to breathe normally. She was fine once freed, and her breathing returned to normal. The expensive costume corset was ruined. Her decision to let friends lace her into a corset way too tightly resulted in needing emergency services to cut her out before she passed out from restricted breathing. 37. A man got his arm stuck in a mail collection box trying to retrieve a letter he'd mailed by mistake. He dropped an important letter in a public mail collection box and immediately realized he'd meant to mail a different one. He'd grabbed the wrong envelope. He reached his arm into the mail slot trying to retrieve it before the mail was collected. His arm went in but wouldn't come back out. The slot was designed to allow mail to drop in but prevented retrieval. It was angled to prevent theft. His arm was stuck in a postal box on a public street. He stood there for 20 minutes trying to free himself while passers-by stared. Finally, he called for help with his free hand. Postal workers and firefighters responded. They had to get keys from the postal service to open the box from the back and free his arm. The rescue took 30 minutes of waiting for keys and then extraction. His letter was long gone in the collected mail anyway. His stupid decision to stick his arm in a mail slot resulted in rescue from a postal box and not even recovering his letter. 38. A child got stuck in a recliner chair when the footrest closed on them. The child was playing in a recliner and pulled the lever. The mechanism malfunctioned and the footrest snapped closed, trapping the child's legs between the seat and footrest like a bear trap. The parents couldn't manually release the mechanism. It was jammed. The child was stuck in a chair crying in pain from the pressure on their legs. They called emergency services immediately. Firefighters arrived and had to carefully dismantle parts of the recliner's mechanism to release the trapped legs without causing further injury. The rescue took 30 minutes of careful work. The child had bruises and minor injuries, but nothing broken. The chair was completely destroyed by the dismantling. While this involved a child, similar incidents happen to adults who fall asleep in recliners that malfunction and trap them, or who don't understand the mechanisms and get caught. 39. A man got stuck in a children's playhouse in a backyard. He was playing hide-and-seek with young kids during a family barbecue and decided to hide in a small plastic playhouse designed for toddlers. He squeezed himself inside the tiny structure but couldn't get back out. The door was too small and he was wedged in a fetal position. He was stuck crouched in a tiny playhouse, unable to move. Kids found him immediately and thought it was hilarious that the grown-up was stuck. He wasn't laughing, his knees were by his ears, and he couldn't straighten out. They called other adults who tried to help but couldn't extract him. Firefighters were called. They arrived to find a grown man stuck inside a child's playhouse designed for 3-year-olds. They had to partially dismantle the plastic structure, removing the roof and cutting walls to free him. The rescue took 20 minutes and completely destroyed the $200 playhouse. His stupid decision to hide in a playhouse designed for toddlers resulted in being cut out while children watched, and the playhouse being destroyed, disappointing the kids who lost their play structure. 40. A woman got stuck in gym equipment when weights fell and pinned her. She was using a leg press machine at a gym alone. She loaded too much weight onto the machine, more than she could handle. When she released the safety bars and began the press, the weight was too heavy. Her legs buckled and the weight platform came down, pinning her legs. She couldn't move the weight to free herself and was trapped. She called for help. Gym staff and emergency services responded quickly. They had to use equipment to carefully lift the weight platform off her legs without it shifting and crushing her further. She had significant bruising and soft tissue damage, but no broken bones. She was lucky she hadn't been crushed. Her stupid decision to use more weight than she could handle without a spotter resulted in being trapped by gym equipment and learning a painful lesson about knowing your limits and using spotters. 41. A man got stuck in a children's ball pit at a fast food restaurant. He was a grown adult who jumped into a ball pit as a joke after drinking. The ball pit was designed for small children and wasn't very deep. When he jumped in, he sank to the bottom, where the ball pit walls were close together at the base. He was wedged between the narrowing walls at the bottom of thousands of balls. He couldn't get leverage to climb out because the balls shifted under any pressure. He was stuck in a ball pit calling for help while covered in colorful plastic balls. Restaurant staff tried to help, but couldn't extract him. They called firefighters. Emergency responders had to clear out balls and use straps to pull him up and out of the pit. The rescue took 30 minutes. He was banned from the restaurant permanently. Parents complained about an adult being in their children's play area. His stupid decision to jump into a children's ball pit while intoxicated resulted in humiliating rescue from colorful plastic balls and being banned from a family restaurant. 42. A teenager got stuck in bleacher seats when they tried to retrieve a phone. A phone fell between bleacher seats at a stadium during a game. The teen decided to climb down into the small gap between bleacher rows to retrieve it, instead of waiting until after the game when the seats would be empty. They squeezed into the gap and got wedged between the metal seats. They couldn't climb back up or get out. They were stuck in stadium bleachers during an active game with thousands of people around. Security was called, and then emergency services. Firefighters had to partially dismantle the bleacher section, removing bolts and seats to extract the teen. The rescue interrupted the game and took 45 minutes while the crowd watched. The phone was recovered, but the embarrassment was permanent. The teen's rescue was shown on the stadium's big screen. Their stupid decision to crawl into bleachers during a game resulted in interrupting a sporting event and being displayed to thousands of spectators on a giant screen while being rescued. 43. A man got stuck in a decorative statue while posing for a photo. There was a public art installation in a city plaza, a large abstract metal statue with various openings and curves. He thought it would be funny to pose inside one of the statue's openings for a photo. He climbed into an opening that fit him going in. When he tried to climb out after the photo, he couldn't. The statue's interior shape and curves made it impossible to climb back out the way he'd entered. He was stuck inside public art, unable to extract himself. Friends tried pulling him out but failed. They called for help. Firefighters arrived and assessed the expensive art installation. They had to use cutting tools on the metal sculpture to create an exit large enough for him to climb through. The rescue took an hour and permanently damaged public art worth thousands of dollars. He was fined $2,500 for vandalism. His stupid decision to climb into a statue for a photo resulted in damaging expensive public art, facing criminal charges and paying a substantial fine while becoming locally infamous. 44. A woman got stuck in a car window she was trying to climb through. She had locked her keys in her car with the window slightly cracked open about 2 inches. Instead of calling a locksmith for $100, she tried to save money by reaching through the narrow window gap to unlock the door from inside. She got her arm and shoulder through the gap and was reaching desperately for the lock button. Then she got stuck. Her body was wedged in the window gap and she couldn't pull herself back out or quite reach the lock. She was stuck half in and half out of her car window in a parking lot. Passersby stopped to stare and take photos. Someone called for help. Firefighters arrived and assessed the situation. They had to break the car window to free her, the same window she was stuck in. The rescue took 20 minutes. Her car window was destroyed and had to be replaced at a cost of $350. A locksmith would have cost $100 and taken 15 minutes without any damage. Her stupid decision to try climbing through a car window instead of calling a professional resulted in a broken window costing more than a locksmith, plus the humiliation of being rescued from her own car while stuck in the window. 45. And finally, a man got stuck in a clothing donation bin for the second time, having failed to learn from the first time. He had previously been rescued from a donation bin several months earlier after trying to steal items by climbing in headfirst. Months later, police received a call about someone stuck in the same donation bin at the same location. When they arrived, it was the same man stuck in the exact same way, headfirst in the donation bin, unable to extract himself. Firefighters who responded included some who had rescued him the first time. They expressed complete disbelief that he was stuck in an identical situation, having apparently learned nothing from the first embarrassing rescue. They cut him out of the bin again using the same techniques as before. He was arrested again for attempted theft. His criminal record now showed 2 separate arrests for being stuck in the same donation bin in the same way trying to steal donated clothes. The judge at his hearing commented on the stunning lack of learning between incidents. His astounding stupidity of making the exact same mistake twice, getting stuck in the same donation bin the same way, resulted in being rescued by the same firefighters who couldn't believe he hadn't learned anything from the first incident. The repeated identical rescue became legendary among local emergency services as the ultimate example of how some people never learn from their mistakes. His decision to rob the same donation bin using the exact same method that had failed spectacularly before resulted in becoming famous among firefighters and emergency personnel as the stupidest repeat offender they'd ever encountered. A man who got stuck in a donation bin got rescued with significant embarrassment and then months later did the exact same thing, in the exact same place, proving that for some people, even the most humiliating experiences aren't enough to teach basic lessons about cause and effect. The brutal truth about people getting stuck is that almost every single incident could have been completely prevented by thinking for just 5 seconds before acting. Don't stick your head through railings. You're not a toddler. Don't climb into appliances designed for washing clothes, not hiding humans. Don't squeeze through gaps you can't back out of. Don't reach into machinery or disposal units. These are obvious rules that adults shouldn't need to be told, yet emergency services respond to hundreds of these ridiculous calls every single year. These incidents share common patterns. Someone makes an impulsive decision without considering consequences, gets stuck, spends time trying unsuccessfully to free themselves while their situation gets worse, finally admits defeat and calls 911 embarrassed, and then emergency services respond with specialized equipment while trying very hard not to laugh at the absurdity. Often the rescue damages property worth far more than whatever the person was trying to save or achieve, and the incident is photographed by bystanders and goes viral online, immortalizing the person's stupidity forever. The stupidest part is that so many of these situations involved people trying to save small amounts of money or minimal time. Rather than walk 20 feet around a gate, they squeeze through bars and get stuck. Rather than call a $100 locksmith, They climb through windows and destroy $350 windows. Rather than abandon a phone that fell in a gap, they wedge themselves between buildings, requiring thousands in building demolition. They save 5 minutes or $10 and end up stuck for hours, requiring rescue operations that cost taxpayers thousands in emergency response resources. What makes these stories even more ridiculous is that modern smartphones mean these people are often stuck while fully able to call for help, Google how to get unstuck, or coordinate their own embarrassing rescue. Previous generations who got stuck had to wait for someone to find them. These people can orchestrate their own humiliation in real time while stuck in baby swings, washing machines, or donation bins. Subscribe if you want to remember that if you have to ask yourself, can I fit through this? The answer is probably no, and you definitely shouldn't try. That emergency services have far better things to do than rescue grown adults from baby swings and washing machines. And that the few seconds or dollars you save by squeezing through a gap instead of walking around it will be lost 1,000 times over when you spend 3 hours wedged in place while firefighters cut you out with power tools as crowds gather to photograph your shame, and your rescue goes viral, ensuring your stupidity is remembered forever on the internet.